Running a bit late today. Sorry. Maybe my tea's actually the right temperature for once. Nope. Nope. One of these days I'm going to get this. You're probably wondering why I'm late. No, you're not. You don't care. But I'm still going to tell you. I have this really bad habit of working through my lunch breaks. Especially yesterday, we actually worked a good half hour into my 1 hour lunch break. So, you know, couldn't actually make the chili. And that's kind of a problem because, when almost all of your food, like 98% of the food I eat is food I cook, which means I need to allocate time for that, which you get it. You get it. The point being, I needed to make the chili, especially since the meat would eventually go bad, and I prefer not to deal with that. And of course, I kind of need to have food to eat since I ran out of my last reheatable this morning. I mean, I still have like the emergency ration stuff, which you always keep on hold of, but that's emergency rations for a reason. So I'm just like, screw it. I'm just gonna cook the chili. It's cool. It's sitting on the pot right now. It's gonna be simmering for the entire first shift here, 4 hours, and so then I'll be able to have it for lunch. Hopefully, it turned out good. I don't know. I'm trying a whole new thing, so we'll see if that turned out well. Dishonored, right? We've actually played this before. In fact, we've even streamed this before, although we've never reviewed it. We did do a old and outdated review of Dishonored 2, a game I consider to be awesome and I love tremendously. But we just did a casual playthrough of Dishonored. I believe that was actually for a rumination back in the day, if I remember correctly. I remember that because a lot of people bashed me for comparing it to Thief. A comparison I stand behind. This is definitely within the same overall genre as Thief, even though there are some obvious fundamental differences between the two. I want to tell you a bit of a story about that, if you don't mind me talking your ear off for no good reason. So my mother, my beloved lore mom, she was really anti-video games for pretty much my entire life. She was one of those, video games are only good for violence and demons. And she hated the fact that I was so into video games from about the age of 3. That's barely an exaggeration. In fact, I think I actually literally was 3 when I first started playing video games. So she was always against that, and I always had to push back against that. And one of the things I used to use as a tool for that was I would pull out games that weren't violent or demonic and be like, here, look, I like playing games, Mom, not just games that involve jumping on turtles, which, as we know, is just terrifying. You get it. You get the rhetoric. I probably told you this story to some extent or another before. If you've ever heard me talk about games like Civilization or SimCity or what was the other? Earthbound, of all games, came up. I know, weird, right? Earthbound was a game that she was convinced, well, okay. But also Thief. The thing that I liked about Thief, and this is, I'm not just going off on a tangent for no reason. The thing I liked about Thief was it rewarded you. It felt, I'm saying it the wrong way. It felt rewarding to successfully accomplish the mission without being seen, ghosting, as it's nowadays referred to, or just managing to never kill anyone. It felt good to not have to kill someone, to be good enough, to be skilled enough to not have to kill someone in order to accomplish an objective. Something that, for example, the Assassin's Creed series fails at miserably, which makes sense because it's called Assassin's Creed, not Sneaky Creed, although I can see why you'd be confused. But I bring this up as well because, brief side tangent, literally last night, my friend and I, Pax, we were playing Factorio, and obviously there is violence in that game, but the entire night, it's only a couple hours, we only have a couple hours to play games every night. The entire night was spent trying to solve getting uranium into the nuclear power, and then getting the nuclear power working so we could actually deal with our consistent brownout and blackout issues, which were getting worse and worse as the factory expanded. We did it. Just going to summarize the story. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because it was so satisfying. It felt good. It was like, it was accomplishment to actually successfully figure that out and process it and get all the chains working and get the plates working, get all this crap working so we could get a reliable, self-repeating, hands-off, fire and forget source of tremendous power so we could deal with that problem. And that was so satisfying. And it's the same vibe. It's the same feeling. So if you've watched me play Dishonored and Dishonored 2, you know that I enjoy playing ghosting for games like this. In fact, I actually really enjoy stealthing in stealth games when it's done properly. Now, I'm actually curious how this is going to turn out because we've never reviewed Dishonored before. Dishonored 2 certainly has a lot of tools in your kit to avoid being detected, but I'm not sure if Dishonored 1 does. And that's the trick. some stealth games, you ever hear that, oh my god, it's a mandatory stealth section. The reason those sections suck is because you don't have kit, right? Like, you don't have the abilities or skill. There's no gameplay there. It's just hitting crouch and waiting an exorbitant amount of time. Now, I can be an extremely patient gamer and person in general, but the point is, if you're just sitting and waiting, there's no gameplay happening. You're not doing anything. You're waiting for the green light to progress. I like games that give you tools and kits, which brings us back, of course, to Thief, which is something that gives you plenty of tools and kits to be able to stay quiet and to stay undetected, and that's awesome. And Dishonored 2 gives you kit to be able to stay undetected and to stay quiet, and that's awesome. But I don't remember if 1 does, so I'm actually really curious, especially after Below Zero was not as good as I was hoping it would be, is how I'm going to phrase that. I'm curious if this one's going to hold up going back through it. Anyways, I'm going to see, is my tea ready? Are we good? Not quite. Damn. I figured for sure, because I was running late and it's just been sitting here on my desk. Do I need to, like, cook it? Or cook it? Wow. Do I need to, like, not have the water be as hot? Any tea enthusiasts out there can help me out with this? Whatever. We're starting Dishonored. See you in a bit.